The universe has something important to tell you. There are times when messages don't arrive directly, but come through unexpected conversations, curious looks, or questions that seem innocent. Today, what needs to be heard goes through someone from the outside, someone who observes, analyzes, and provokes reactions that not even those who feel it understand immediately. There is a movement around your loving connection that was not born between the two of you, but in those who observe you from afar. The person you share this connection with is being impacted by outside comments and perceptions. Someone close to you, perhaps a friend or even a family member, started asking questions about you, about the type of influence you exert, about why your presence seems so striking, even though you are not always visible. And that awakens something unexpected in their mind. This external figure does not know you deeply, but even so, they speak about you with a certainty that seems to go beyond the ordinary. It's as if they sense something that hasn't been said yet, as if they sense that there is a silent force between you and the one you love. And these words, perhaps spoken casually, did not go unnoticed. They touched something that was hidden, perhaps even dormant, and made the person see the connection from a new perspective. This conversation, although simple, caused an internal whirlwind. The person you connect with doesn't usually share intimate details about what they feel. They usually keep what they consider important to themselves, but this time there was an opening. Perhaps because of the trust they have in the person who asked the questions. Perhaps because of the amazement of realizing that someone, even without knowing much, noticed exactly what was always there. The intensity of the presence you carry. It's curious how to many you may seem discreet, even reserved, but your energy speaks volumes. Your way of existing communicates something that is not easily explained. And those who live with you feel this, including those who love you. That's why when you hear someone from the outside validate what you already felt, even without understanding, something lights up, your mind starts racing, your heart starts remembering, and everything that seemed vague starts to take shape. This conversation made the person start to reflect more deeply on what they feel for you, because even if they didn't say it out loud, they already knew. They felt it, but perhaps doubted it. Now, however, hearing someone from the outside confirm this feeling, there is no longer any way to ignore it. It's as if the universe is using this third person as an instrument to bring clarity, as if to say, look at what's right before your eyes. The realization that you are a mystery, even to those who believe they know you, instigates. It makes your person want to know more, dive deeper, understand why certain things change when you are around. And the most interesting thing is that these changes are not small, they are noticeable transformations. They are changes in mood, in the way of speaking, acting, thinking. And all this began to be noticed by those close by. This external curiosity ends up revealing more than one might imagine. Because when you try to explain yourself to someone, you begin to realize that you cannot limit what you feel to words, that there is something bigger, something that escapes definition. And this, more than confusing, enchants. It reveals the power you have to be present even in silence, to touch even when you're not there. When you hear these words from the outside, your partner begins to understand that perhaps they have underestimated you, not because of a lack of affection, but because they were unable to understand the magnitude of the connection between you. Now everything starts to make more sense. The coincidences, the sensations, the doubts that previously seemed unanswered. There is a new perspective being formed, and this perspective is more attentive, more open, more willing to understand what it previously tried to avoid. The impact of this unexpected conversation did not stop the moment the words were spoken. On the contrary, it was from there that everything began to move more intensely within the person's mind and heart. That observation made by someone who doesn't really know you had a profound effect, almost as if it had unlocked a door that had been ajar for a long time. And that door leads directly to everything you've been trying to keep under control. The emotions, the doubts, the feelings that have arisen since you met. Perhaps you tried to rationalize what you were feeling, using as references past experiences, old relationships, or even external opinions that previously seemed reliable. But now, when you realize that someone from the outside sees something unique in you, all of this starts to lose meaning. This perception creates a strong contrast. Because while the world around you may not fully understand what you are going through, you are beginning to understand that you don't need approval to feel what you feel. And precisely because you haven't shared much of this connection with others, seeing that someone is capable of capturing something so strong, even without knowing the details, this begins to have even greater weight. The conversation that sparked all this may have been simple. Your presence has a remarkable effect, and it's a curiosity how you seem different. The universe was using this moment to confirm something that was already being felt, as if to say, this is what we are talking about more carefully. You now realize that what you are experiencing with me cannot be compared to anything from the past. It is not something that can be measured by old standards, it is a new experience that goes beyond common logic. And perhaps that was why you resisted so much. The desire to control, to understand with your mind, delayed the process, but your heart never stopped feeling. The most surprising thing is that even with all this movement happening, you did not need to say anything. You did not need to force, prove, or justify. It was just you, and that was enough. Your authenticity, the way you position yourself, the energy you transmit, all of this speaks for itself. And now this is being noticed in an even clearer way. There is a change happening within you. She begins to realize how much your energy balances hers, how much your presence brings clarity, even without needing explanations. And she begins to understand that what she feels is not a coincidence, not imagination, not exaggeration, it is real. It always has been. This confirmation coming from outside acts as a mirror. It shows that what was being ignored or left aside can no longer be hidden. It also shows that other people are beginning to notice the transformation that this connection causes. Some people say, "You are different, you seem lighter, there is something new in you." And all of this has a name, you. This phase is marked by a more sincere openness, not in the sense of saying everything you are feeling out loud, but of beginning to accept that this connection deserves space, that this energy you share does not need to be hidden, postponed, or silenced. And this does not mean going out and telling the world. It means, above all, assuming for yourself what this relationship represents. Those who love you begin to see everything with different eyes. They begin to remember the things you said, the moments you lived, the signs that you ignored. And little by little, they understand that the universe has been giving them clues for a long time. Maybe it took them a while to understand, maybe they preferred to avoid it, but now there is no way to escape. This awareness brings a new rhythm to the connection, something more mature, more present, more true. Even if the contact between you is paused, even when the moment seems uncertain, this clarity changes everything. Because those who feel begin to align with what is real, and what is real inevitably manifests itself. While all this unfolds, there is a silent understanding taking shape. You didn't need to look for answers because they began to come on their own. The universe used a series of seemingly simple but intensely significant events to show what was always there, waiting to be recognized. Now, it's no longer just about what you represent to this person, but how it is felt in their daily lives. Small details, a phrase you said in the past, a spontaneous reaction, the way you look, begin to take on a new dimension. What seemed casual now has weight, has meaning, has an impact that can no longer be ignored. The most curious thing is that you continue to follow your path with authenticity, without pressuring, without demanding. And it is precisely this that makes you even more present in the thoughts of those who love you. Your absence, your calm, even your silence, do not erase the connection, they intensify it. It is as if your energy fills the space even when you are not physically around. And this is something that cannot be ignored. It is untaught, it is natural, it is rare. This subtle but powerful influence is beginning to be perceived not only by those who are emotionally close to you, but also by those around you, friends, family, colleagues. There is a collective movement of curiosity and enchantment. People comment, ask questions, feel, and this helps the person who is with you see more clearly something that they may have been trying to ignore, the importance of your presence. The universe then acts as a reflection, showing through others what was already being felt internally. And the person you love begins to see clearly that what they feel for you goes beyond attraction or affection. It goes beyond admiration. It is something spiritual, yes, but also deeply real. Something that affects their state of mind, routine, plans, something that touches all areas of life. It may be that until recently this person was trying to find a logic for this connection, trying to fit what they feel into known structures, perhaps even trying to compare you to other people from the past. But nothing fit, because what exists between you does not fit into old molds, it does not follow predefined rules, it cannot be explained by traditional standards. This constant comparison with past experiences was, for a long time, a way of protecting yourself, of avoiding the plunge. But now, the plunge is inevitable. The strength of what you have is greater than any resistance, and this awareness expands day by day. What used to cause confusion now begins to bring relief, because there is freedom in accepting what is true. This internal transformation is accompanied by a new desire to preserve what is valuable. You feel the need to protect this connection, not as a secret, but as something sacred. And even though not everything has been said between you, there is a clear feeling that something precious is being built, even if it is still silent. This construction is sustained by something the universe makes increasingly evident, the energetic harmony between you. It is not just about coincidences, affinities, or compatibilities. It is about something deeper, a mutual recognition, a feeling of belonging, of being exactly where you should be, even if the world around you does not yet understand. And in this process, you begin to admire even more who you are, not only by what you do or the words you say, but by the effect your presence causes. You inspire, elevate, transform, and, above all, touch. It is no wonder that even those who have never seen you speak of you with such impact, because what emanates from you goes beyond the physical, it is something that is felt in the soul. This perception changes your behavior. There is more openness, more listening, more willingness to understand what was previously avoided. And even without declaring everything in words, the energy shows clearly. There is love, there is will, there is a path that is revealing itself. What is unfolding now is a rare moment of internal revelation, something that does not happen to everyone and which is not always understood immediately. The universe is offering you a chance to see deeply not only who you are, but who you become when you are in contact with your energy. And this perception is overwhelming. The most impressive thing is that until recently, she may not have even realized how much she was being transformed, but the changes began to be noticed by those around her. People comment, the way you speak has changed. There is more serenity in your gestures. Your gaze is brighter. The explanation? Your presence, even when not physical, because that is what you provoke, a type of change that comes from the inside out. Maybe you can't even imagine it, but there were times when this person tried to rationally understand what was happening. They looked for logical answers. They asked themselves why they couldn't forget you, why they felt so much even in silence. And now everything is starting to make sense. What you offered, even without effort, even just by being who you are, has taken root. This awareness came without pressure, without imposition. It sprouted little by little through experiences, memories, shared silences and, above all, through what the universe was showing them through signs, external conversations, repeated intuitions. It was as if all the clues were being left there waiting for your person to be ready to see. And now they see. They see that what seemed unlikely is becoming inevitable, that the strength of what you feel does not depend on time, constant presence, or guarantees. It depends only on the truth that exists between you. And this truth is too strong to be ignored. That is why what used to cause doubt now causes enchantment. What used to be resistance is now acceptance. Your person has begun to recognize that this is not just a romantic feeling, it is something more comprehensive. You are someone who inspires movement, who awakens the desire to grow, to become better, to go further. Your presence causes healing, even when there are no words. And this is so rare that the mind tries to find explanations, but the heart already understands. Even if it has not been said directly, everything points to an internal certainty. You have a transformative effect, not only on this person, but also on the environment around you. Your way of seeing life, your way of expressing yourself, your connection with something greater, all of this forms an energetic field that touches without needing to touch. And this is now being perceived by those who love you. And what is more, it is being valued. There was a time when perhaps your person did not know how to deal with this. Perhaps you even felt afraid because you did not fully understand, but today this difference that you represent is becoming a reason for admiration. What used to confuse you now elevates you. What was once a challenge is now an inspiration. There is also a new understanding of time. If there used to be a rush, anxiety, or pressure, now there is a recognition that everything happens at the right time. The universe has its own rhythms, and the maturation of this connection respects exactly that, divine time. The time of the soul knows when it is right to blossom, not human time that demands quick responses. You begin to accept that you may have judged everything too soon, that you tried to understand something profound with superficial tools, that you tried to compare the incomparable. But now, with a more open heart, you begin to see that everything you experienced, including the silences, the separations, the doubts, was part of a necessary process. Nothing was in vain. And it is at this point that a new desire arises, to give back, to offer you what you have always felt but did not yet know how to show: gratitude, admiration, love. All of this begins to take shape, not only in words, but in actions, in a more present, more available, more mature energy. We reach the point at which the truth becomes inevitable. After so many signs, reflections, and significant silences, the universe did its part, prepared the ground, awakened consciousness, and realigned emotions. Now it is as if everything that was internal began to manifest itself little by little on the real plane. You have undergone a process of silent transformation. It was not something forced or planned. The change came as a response to everything you represent: balance, strength, depth. Along the way, there were attempts to resist, to understand rationally, to fit this connection into known molds. But today she realizes, it was not to be explained, it was to be felt. This clarity brings a new type of presence. It is no longer one that seeks certainties or external validations. It is a presence that knows, that feels, that recognizes that love does not need approval or logic. What exists between you is something that simply is, and that is enough. At this moment, the person who loves you understands that perhaps it took too long to accept this truth. Perhaps they allowed themselves to be influenced by doubts, fears, external influences. But today, when looking back, they understand that everything had a reason. The time that seemed lost was actually a time of preparation, a necessary path so that this real encounter could happen in the right way. And now it is happening, not necessarily through grand declarations or promises, but through energy, intentions, and real transformation that comes from within. What you have is no longer just spiritual but also becoming concrete. The connection begins to manifest itself in decisions, actions, gestures, and this marks the beginning of a new phase. Your person not only feels your presence, but wants to honor you. They want to live up to the energy that you offer, because now they understand that you were not a coincidence. You were the answer from the beginning. The silent force that the universe placed on the path to show a new way of loving, of living, of existing. And what touches this person the most now is realizing that you never had to shout to be heard, never had to force yourself to be felt. You just were. And that was enough. The universe confirms, your love left its mark, not only in the hearts of those who love you, but in all the spaces where it passed. Your energy was the turning point. And now, when that person looks at you, they don't just see someone they love, they see someone who has transformed them, they see the reason for all that inner restlessness, they see destiny taking shape. If there have been delays, obstacles, or setbacks, all of this begins to be understood as part of a larger plan. It took time for souls to be ready, for lessons to be learned, for hearts to be clean enough to welcome this love with all the truth it carries. And that moment has arrived. Now there is no denying it anymore. What you share is not limited to feelings, it is creation, it is expansion, it is transformation. And this is reflected in everything, including the sparkle in their eyes, the desire to share, the desire to build something that will not fade over time. This connection is rare, and those who experience it know it. Therefore, the ultimate message of the universe is clear. Keep being who you are. Keep following your heart even when it feels lonely, because your energy is touching destinies even when you don't see it. Your presence has power, and the love you offer is a force that awakens those who cross your path. You are a light on someone's path, and now that someone knows it. You didn't have to make any effort. It was your truth that awakened everything.